Welcome to the Business Blast Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. This episode is brought to you by Authors Unite. Authors Unite provides you with the support you need to finish your book. Best part is, after you finish your book, they take care of the entire publishing and marketing process 100% for you. So, if you want to become a successful author, make sure to check out authorsunite.com. Now, let's jump into the episode. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Business Blast Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. Today I have Eva Vennari. She is the Healing Rebel. So welcome to the show, Eva.
Thanks, Tyler. Glad to be here.
Of course, and we're glad to have you on the show. Let's jump into the first question. The first one I have for you is, what is the best story from your life that has an underlying valuable message?
I love the story my mother used to tell about myself, about how I snuck away at a family picnic to jump off of a 20-foot high dive without her knowing that I was doing it. And it taught me a few things about myself that I have been able to recognize in business. I wouldn't be as successful as I am today without having those, I don't know what you might call them, then almost a need for a little bit of risk that's calculated. And that's what I would say is my best story. I love that story she used to tell about me. She would turn around from the line getting popcorn and she goes, "Oh, where's Eva?" And nobody knew where I was. And then my dad points up and he sees, what he thinks is me. Is that her at the 20-foot high dive? And I'm, jumping in doing, double flip. And they're like, what the heck? So it was pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. So the next one I have for Eva is, what is the most valuable piece of information we should know that's within your expertise or industry?
There's just most valuable piece is to listen to the self, and I actually bring that from the dive stories. Like, I had that little intuition. That sounds like fun. I can jump off a 20-foot high dive, and do that. And we lose that propensity to follow that little voice because we're told all the time, that's wrong, don't do that, that's risky, whatever. And I have found that if I just stuck with that inner voice, and that's something that's very helpful in the health industry, is a lot of times, and this was me included, I'm sitting opposite to a professional who says to me, well, Eva, on paper, you look absolutely perfect. You should go home and enjoy the fact that you look great. But I felt something was off. And so in the industry, there's oftentimes we think that the authority person giving us the clean bill of health is the end all. But when you know something is off, it's best to listen to that inner voice and seek out additional information.
And then what is your best piece of overall business advice? So not necessarily industry specific.
It really has to do with that listening to the intuition. I'm going to keep repeating myself. I think it's important is to listen to that inner voice. And sometimes it's to the outside person. It's going to look a little crazy. What is she doing jumping off that 20-foot high dive, right? And our ideas to others can seem that way. And in business, if you don't follow your sometimes crazy ideas, you'll end up not doing anything at all. And that was my case. I needed to follow that little intuition.
And it might tie in, but if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
Stay childlike. That curiosity. I think that would be my best advice.
And again, it could tie in your opinion, what is the key to happiness?
I think it's two things. It's connecting with like-minded people. I think that's really, really important. And allow for private time as well. And private, I think people get that confused. I know I hear this a lot. Is, I have nothing to hide. And then the private lives end up out on paper or out in Facebook and whatnot. And it's really none of our business what's going on. But allowing for some private time to reflect and integrate, I think those two things and having good relationships, those are the key to happiness.
And what is the best book that you've read, and what was the number one thing you learned from that?
Well, I'll give you the best book that I read recently. And I loved reading this book because I resonated so deeply with it. And initially it sounds, I'll give you the name of it in a second. Initially it sounds like a blame, but it's not. It was seeking to understand myself and also give a voice to those who are also suffering from the same kind of issues. And I read it in 4 days, just voraciously read it. It was called Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents, How to Heal from Distant, Rejecting, and Self-Involved Parents. Yeah.
Very interesting. Okay. And what is your favorite quote and why?
My favorite quote is by Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, and he says, "Our duty as men and women is to proceed as if limits to our ability did not exist. We are collaborators in creation." I have that on the signature of my email to remind me of that, because sometimes I forget.
Listen, thank you so much for coming on. Very insightful episode. The last one I have for you before we let you go is, where can our audience find you online?
Easy enough. It's my company name, which is The Elevate Institute. And you can find the website, theelevateinstitute.com. Don't forget the THE at the beginning.
Perfect. Thanks again for jumping on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
The podcast you just heard was published with Anchor. Got something you want to say to the creator of this show? Send them a voice message using the Anchor app, free for iOS and Android.